Okay, welcome everybody to another webinar. Our topic today is how to buy affordable luxury kitchen appliances with a budget between $5,000 and $15,000. Steve's going to talk about brands to consider, especially considering the current environment with product availability. As a reminder, we are recording and we'll be sharing this recording out afterwards via email and also be posted to our YouTube channel. Please do use the Q&A feature if any questions pop up along the way here. There's a lot of great questions submitted during registration that we'll get to, and we'll have time for any other questions that come up if you want to drop them in the Q&A. And then, as a reminder, you can see all of our previous webinars on our YouTube channel. There's over a dozen topics now, and even some updated ones we've gone back to that you can find on there if you need some answers for your appliance project. And without that out of the way, I'll turn it over to Steve Scheinkoff, our CEO. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on another Thursday morning seminar. Title today is How to Buy Affordable Luxury Kitchen Appliances Between $5,000 to $15,000. And like it, because you have to like what you're buying, because it's going to be your kitchen for 3 to 10 years. And it's really hard to pick. I mean, what I do is when I research a topic, I always go to House and I put in best affordable luxury kitchen. So this is what popped up. I think 3 of the first slides were top left is a Sub-Zero Pro 48. That's $18,000 now. Bottom left is a Pro refrigerator and a wall oven. Already we're at 20. Same thing on the side there. It's a nice rug in a kitchen. But anyway, it's I have a 5-year-old. I'm looking at that rug. And anyway, I look at the refrigerator and the stove. Again, it's 20, and you don't have to spend 20. We're going to give you a framework for it. And I know it's kind of hard. You know, everyone talks about availability, and we're going to address that in grave detail. And the other part is a lot of people, and rightfully so, are thinking they're not going to get a really good kitchen because the average kitchen appliances increased over the last 2 years, at least. This is a modest 23 to 26%. So I don't want to give you an idea that your kitchen's going to look like this. This is the saddest range I could find on the internet when I was putting this together. It's an interesting kitchen though. It looks like they cut a sofa for the cabinets. Maybe a new thing, but it's not going to look like this. I'm going to give you the framework. And this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about what actually affordable luxury is, and we're going to compare it to luxury kitchens. Insofar as I think a lot of people think they have to stay with the same 4 pieces, and you don't have to do that. We're going to go over all the options: refrigerator, stove, dishwasher, oven range, microwave. We're going to talk about available brands, at least in the Boston area. But you know, whether you're joining us from California, New York, we're gonna give you a framework so you can plug maybe the brand that's in your area that may be available, because it does change. Then we take some. We've got a lot of good questions, and if you have some, we have some time to answer those, and then some key takeaways as well. So let's get started. This is the kitchen we use all the time. I think I'm going to retire it after this one, but this is Drake the Rapper's kitchen. This is a beautiful, really nicely done kitchen. But if we look at what a luxury kitchen is and just look at the bones of it, right? Look at the refrigerators. Those are integrated. Those fit within a cabinet. The refrigeration is probably about 14, 18,000. You're looking at the top end G7000 Miele between $2,000 and $7,000. It's between $2,000 and $3,000. Look at the range, 48 inch. This is a Chateau Supreme, a very extreme range. But any 48, you're probably not going to get an affordable luxury. Then you get the custom hood, separate microwave, steam oven, and coffee maker. We look at affordable luxury. This is typically what we look at, which is here are the bones. But again, we're going to look at different options, but this is typically how it's presented. But these ranges have really advanced over the years. I mean, we look at that range. It's not the same. When I started, you know, the range with the max output was with 212 and 28000s, and maybe some of you cooking or something like that. That's most of these front control ranges are now 60, 70,000 BTUs. 5-burner with the griddle, convection with a little baking drawer. Even pros don't have baking drawers below. You get a microwave convection. I'm not really into over the range microwaves for venting purposes. So I'm going to give you different options there and stay within your budget. You know, you may not have heard of Signature Kitchen. It's the upper of LG. It's a 42 decibel dishwasher with steam functionality. And that fridge, we're going to go back to that fridge because it's kind of cool. They have 3 different ice cubes because ice is a big thing with a door and door. And I'll tell you a little bit about the sensors when we get into the fridges. That's what we're looking at, right? So what's going to compare an affordable luxury, and then we're going to mix the two and stay in budget. That's what we're going to do today, mostly, and available brands. Now, I never start any webinar with refrigerators because refrigerators are not central to the plan, right? You can put a refrigerator anyway. It's not mission critical for us to be in our refrigerators. It's critical for your stovetop, dishwasher, and sink. Refrigerator you can put anywhere. But I started with this one because this is the one product we're not going to tamper with. We go to an advanced refrigerator like a Pro over there, or even a built-in with the compressor on the top, or the integrated that you can put panels so it looks like your cabinets. Those are all going to blow your budget. So really we're going to stay as the 36-inch framework. And it's still, I mean, it's really good. I mean, Sub-Zero started with the whole 2 compressor of keeping refrigerator and freezer separate so your food tastes better. Well, you get the 2 evaporators. It's not quite the same, but it's similar. The environments stay the same. The environments of the refrigerator and the freezer are separate, even on some of these now. You have the InstaView door and a lot of different options. So it's really not that bad, but we got to stay within this. This is the one product that we can't change. So consider a 36 counter depth so it doesn't protrude from the cabinets. So it'll still look good in your kitchen, but it's not going to be a Pro or integrated type. When we look at ranges, you can't get a 36 or a 48-inch in budget at stay within 15,000. But you guys see a lot of very good cooking options, and we're gonna build some packages with a Pro range at the end. But you have a lot of options in cooking. Similar with dishwashers. I mean, right now you can't buy a Miele or Bosch. I do not have a Miele in stock other than a Pro dishwasher at $4,250, and we're struggling with Bosch as well because of production issues. But there's some very, very good dishwashers, brands you may not have heard of like Beko. GE just revamped their profile and cafe lines that are really good. Kitchen's got a good dishwasher. LG's got a good dishwasher. So this is another area that we can spend a little less, maybe spend a little bit more on your cooking. And then when we look at ventilation, again, I'm not a really big over the range. I don't think over the range microwaves vent very well because your power burners are on the front of the range at about 23, 24, and that microwaves extends only out 16. It's only about 350 CFM, so it should be a little better than that. But on the Pro side, you're going to get some kind of custom hood and warming dress. So we're going to build a package with some of this in mind as well. So the one thing before we start is if you're brand loyal to a brand, you're probably going to be disappointed. Many of the popular brands are 6 months to 12 months or longer to get. So really what you want to do is quiet dishwasher, convection range, high output burners, maybe a better ventilation system. Pick the features and then see what's available in your area rather than saying, I want a Bosch, I want a Samsung, I want an LG, because you're going to be disappointed that way. So really hone down the features that you're looking for, and then we'll provide you the framework to shop. And that's what we're going to do right now, right? So if we're going to look at refrigerator options, right? These are all 36 counter depth. That's an LG, $2,095. Still 2 evaporator, smart. So it'll tell you, it'll give you a push notification to say that your door's open. We do smart in other webinars. I'm not going to get into that today. When we step up, we go to something else, a dispenser, maybe a larger size. The top of the line fridges in this category. This is the SKS. This one has crushed ice, and it makes the craft ice cubes, those round cylindrical ice cubes where they're slow dissolving. So if you like scotch or fine liquor, it doesn't dissolve. So it tastes more of the drink, less of the ice. This operates on 9 sensors and 2 evaporators. So it keeps the refrigerator in 1 degree to 1 degree increment. So it's a really good refrigerator, but Typically on a fridge, you're going to spend $2,000 to $5,000. Now let's look at the range options. Now I chose electric. On the left-hand side, that's called a freestanding range. Now, a freestanding range is less expensive, but you're still getting features. That's a 5-burner range with convection, right? What a lot of people do in renovations is they buy what's called a front control or slide-in. Difference between a front control and a slide-in, people use them interchangeably. They're not. A slide-in is mounted over the cabinets, so it's a little bit more cleanable. If you spill something, it doesn't stay down the sides, versus front control, which just slides in, so you do get the seams on either side. But you see the back guard. You see your custom back when you go to a freestanding slide-in. In the middle, a lot of people talk about gas and professional cooking and speed and everything else. That's an induction range. Induction is magnetic heat. Now, the way magnetic heat works, it senses the molecules of your pan cooks your food. It's the most efficient way to cook. It boils faster. It's got an infinite simmer. It's easy to vent, easy to clean because the top doesn't get hot. And you're going to get induction somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000. But that's a really good option. Now, we're going to talk about gas ranges. Every one of these are 5 burners. The top right is the hottest. That's the Fisher Paykel, was the old DCS. That's got a 23,000 BTU burner and 3 18s. Like I said, when I started, it was 2 12s and 2 8s. And a lot of people are cooking on maybe 1 high out burner and 3 smaller ones. But number 2 is that cafe is in Yale. I have the same burner output at 71,000 BTUs. Yale has got 4, cafe's got 6 with the 2 conjoining, one in the middle for a griddle. But every one of these ranges that you see on this picture has got 2 high output burners in the front, whether it's 15, 17, 15, 19, cafe's 21 and 15. The Yale is 2 19 5s. So you're going to get high output on any range you buy. So is it really important to get a Pro? Maybe not. In the cafe, you get smart functionality. You get 2 ovens. The only really good aspect to a Pro on a 30 is we'll cover dual fuel. There was a question on dual fuel later, but we're going to do all gas. Typically, people do all gas in the segment. Is you get the infrared broilers on the Pros. Infrared is a direct source broiler, whereas gas diffuses. The infrared goes top to bottom. Now, a lot of people go out and buy the Lynx. The Lynx serum one is an infrared. It really does a nice job. So if you like to broil, you may want to stick with a Pro. But on the other side, you're going to get high output burners, convection, smart functionality. On the regular ones, you get baking drawers or storage drawers. You don't get that in a Pro. So a lot of good options for cooking. Now, dishwashers, right? A lot of people on the luxury side buy the higher end Bosches and Yale is over $2,000. You don't have to do that. On the top left hand side, LG. We're going to show a lot of LG because it's available. It's also really reliable. That's the single most reliable product we sold last year. Only needed service 1.76% of the time versus 12% for the average dishwasher. Good dishwasher, stainless steel. The new profiles down below have got microband antimicrobial on the handles and on the racks. Very clean unit. They also have special bottle washes. So if you have a sports bottle or something like this, you put it in, it's got a direct feed into that. It's got silverware, special silverware jets too. And it's 42 decibels with the grinder. Every year, dishwashers gone progressively quieter because they just have filters they have to remove. That one still is a grinder. And it's 1124. That beko in the middle, 39 decibels. That's like dead silence. One of the quietest you can buy. It also has a special cycles called Aqua Intense, where it funnels most of the water down to the bottom rack and has this another arm at the bottom to really scour your baked on dishes. That's only $9.99. Now, most of the Bosches that you're going to buy between $1,000 and $1,500, they use the crystal dry system, which is volcanic elements that emit heat and absorb moisture. Really works on plastics. So you got a lot of good options, lesser priced on a dishwasher. Over the range microwaves, again, I'm not a huge fan. The most extreme or the best is the Avantium, which uses high-powered lights to really cook your food. On your right, you've got convection, which cooks as a microwave, convection or combination. But you can buy an over-the-range microwave at $250 with a vent. But again, you're only getting a 350 CFM vent that doesn't cover the front burners, which typically are the hottest. So really what you want to do is consider better hood options. You get tons of microwave options. You can either go without, or you could buy a tabletop at any hardware store almost for $100, which is pretty good. You could buy the ones that are under cabinet from G, the 300 fit within that 24-inch cabinet. What's popular now is the drawers that they fit under you fit in under your countertop. You press a button and it pops out at you. You can buy any of those instead of an over-range microwave, and then buy the proper vent that'll be able to capture those front burners. And we're going to do that within budget. Now let's look at some packages. What are you going to get from $5,000 to $15,000, at least in the Boston area? But here's the framework. Again, with LG, you're getting their French door counter depth, 5-burner gas or electric range, over-the-range microwave, and their stainless steel dishwasher. Again, with the cooking's good, 6.3 cubic foot oven. That's fairly large, and that's larger than any Pro you're going to get at 30 inches as well. Cafe is an interesting option. A lot of people are saying, well, I'm sick of stainless steel. Then you have different colors. I know somebody asked a question on Bertazzoni. We'll get to that at the end. But cafe is interesting because it gives you white, black, mirrored in their modernness line, and stainless steel. And then you've got brass, copper, and stainless steel handle. So you can really mix and match something a little bit different. This is white. This is in our showrooms, white and polished brass in New England. It's pretty good. This is what it looks like in an actual kitchen. What you would do then, this isn't a design or how to make your kitchen look unique, but you typically would put the pulls. The pulls look like they're stainless. All these pulls right here that I'm pointing to, those could be brass as well. But they did a nice job with the brass fixtures. And here's a testimonial from my dad. And I asked, these cafe appliances, they're pretty good. That's pretty glowing. We just sent him some cafe appliances. G does a nice job delivering. So we got rid of his old, put in his new. But I use them pretty nice. They have an induction slide in that's really a nice unit. So, and again, black and copper. I mentioned black because it's not black stainless steel, which you want to stay away from because it's just an oxide coating that you can breach and see the stainless steel underneath. This is real black, and you can match it with copper or brass for something a little bit more formal. Put on your black dress as well there. And then G, profile, which is G has monogram as their built-in cafe, which is underneath that. Profile is their better stuff, just without some of the features and some of the customization of cafe. But you're looking at still a 42 decibel dishwasher, double drawer, French door, 36, oven and microwave for under $7,000. Here's an interesting line. Beko's new. You may, if you know Blomberg, they make the Blomberg. They also make Viking dishwashers. A lot of this is an appliance company from Turkey. So a lot of appliances are made actually in Turkey, but they use active blue light technology to keep food fresher. You think, how does the blue light make something fresh? Well, we sold lighting for like 95 years here, and on the Kelvin scale, sunlight and blue light emulate the same. So basically, you put your fruit and vegetable in there, and they still think it's under the sun, so it keeps food fresher. They also have a really nice gasketed crisper bin. They call it the Ever Fresh Plus, so it does keep food fresher for a longer period of time. We tested. We have this video called Project Produce, where we tested 5 brands and how they kept fruits and vegetables. They were actually the best at the freestanding. The range is nice because it gives you a lot of modes and an 18,000 BTU burner, and that dishwasher, which I think people should just buy because I think it's that good and it's reliable. And then you got SKS, which we showed you up front. That refrigerator with 9 sensors, cubed ice, crushed ice, 5-burner range, convection, over-the-range microwave with convection. If we want to go pro, you can do it with Thermador if it was available, but I'm showing you with Fisher Beko because it is. Again, this is a very hot range, 23,000 B2 burner, 318s, high output hood. The way they work is similar to the other fridge, but active with sensors and a microprocessor to keep refrigerator and freezer environments similar. And then you have their double drawer dishwasher. 2 drawers as you get older, like me, you don't have to bend as far for that top drawer. And that's a nice package, still under 15. But let's say you don't like any of these. Or let's say you want to build your own. Well, let's build our own with a Miele. Now, I picked Miele because Thermador was less expensive. Wolf was more expensive. Figured I'll split the difference. This is $6,500. Let's match it with a hood that'll actually extract the air. This is a 24-inch deep hood, 18 inches tall. If you really cook, it'll really extract the air because really we get into ventilation other than the capture area, which is depth and height. Because if you really smoke this range up, burn something on it, smoke is captured and then evacuated. It's not just sucked out of your house. This happens to be one of ours. It's got a 5-year warranty and $14.99. Now, I put in a under counter microwave that you touch the button and it comes out. All these are made in the same place. Sharp makes every single one of them. So you see branded one of these, buy the least expensive one. And oddly enough, it's not Sharp's. You would think it would be. It's now at this writing, it's beko. It's $14.99. They have a 5-year warranty on it as well. This is an LG brand new double freezer drawer. This is kind of a neat option. We talked about 2 evaporators and keeping food environments separate. But this has an additional feature that putting on most of the fridges called Door Plus. So when you open it up, there's like a vent at the top that shoots cold air down to keep the temperature constant or better regulated. And then we're going to just match the handles to the profile, just for the heck of it. This is a really good, again, bottle silverware wash, 42 decibel with a grinder. Good dishwasher. That's at $1,200. So your total is under budgeted at $13,198. So let's just make it even less expensive. Say we're not going to do a drawer microwave. Let's do a under cabinet. It's $300. We'll lop $1,000 off. Let's just say we don't want a pro range. We want just a regular front control so we can see the back guard range. Take another $3,000 off that, and then you don't need as big a hood. Refrigerator, you could probably get the more basic single drawer at $500 cheaper. So really, you have that framework of once you pick the 36-inch countertop fridge, you really have a lot of different options as long as you stay within the 30-inch range profile. So I'm going to give you 3 key takeaways, along with probably should have put stay with it just a regular countertop refrigerator. Pick the features first, not the brands. And then really get a list of the must-haves. I think those 2 go together and stick with available brands. And those are our 3 takeaways. And with that, I will send it over to Pat.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And Steve, do you want this next presentation here, the Book of No? You want to talk about what we have coming up there?
Yeah, we go from good to bad. Some of our most popular things are the things you shouldn't be doing. We have a lot of things you shouldn't be doing and separate things that shouldn't be done articles. What we're going to do is combine all the things you shouldn't be doing into one webinar. We were just throwing that around marketing and calling it the Book of No or bad renovation, bad products. We don't know what to call it, but we're going to put everything you shouldn't be doing, whether it's trends you shouldn't be following, products you shouldn't be buying, bad practices that you should be doing when you consider renovation, really taking it from, okay, I got to renovate my outside space, my kitchen, my house. What do I do first? And then flip it outside and say, here's what not to do first. We're probably uniquely qualified for that because we've We added stores in Framingham, Hanover, in Dorchester, and some of them went better than others. And, I renovated a house and an apartment, and I wish I had watched the webinar that we'll be doing. So that should be interesting.
Yep, that's our next webinar. We'll have details when we email out the recording of this one for everybody. So you could sign up for that if you're interested. And with that, I think we'll just get to the Q&A. If any questions have come up from the audience here, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom. We have some to get started with from the registration, Steve. Let's start with the steam ovens. The steam ovens is always a popular discussion. Question we had is, are steam ovens worth the investment and easy to learn how to operate? So kind of two different thoughts there. You want to take that?
Anything that you could make in a steam oven is going to taste better than anything you're going to make in a radiant oven. That's simple, because you're adding moisture. You're not baking out nutrients. With our chef, she's on leave now. When she cooks in a steam oven, it's spectacular food, is what I can say. It's the way it should be actually cooked. When you think about heating something up, you're extracting some of the flavor. With steam. You don't do that. So steam is worth the investment. Now, the question is, there's two. I'm going to answer the question in two parts. Right? Is A, are you willing to learn it? If the answer is no, but I still want a steam oven, then buy a Miele, because Miele has the Master Chef where it just says, okay, what do you want to cook? What does it weigh? Press this button, and that's how you cook with steam, with the Miele. With everything else, you got to figure it out. If you're not willing to figure it out, then it becomes just a very expensive over the wall oven or on the tabletop item. But it's definitely, if you're really into food, it's definitely worth considering.
Yep, it's like we are fans of the steam ovens here, for sure. There's a little bit of a learning curve with most of them, but it's like anything else. I think you invest your time in it, and it's going to be worth it for you. And next up, let's go to this is a question about for 30-inch gas sliding ranges. For 30-inch gas sliding ranges, which is more reliable? GE Cafe, Bosch 800 series, Bertazzoni. Do you want to talk about maybe some options there for 30-inch gas sliding ranges?
Well, I should know this because we publish. We have a post with the most reliable gas ranges, and I think Cafe is I would say medium. Which is good, because Cafe's got 6 burners, 2 ovens. So more things could go wrong with it, you would think. LG, regular G are the most reliable. Insofar as that, I don't remember Bosch, to be honest. I can give you that information after the fact. As far as Bertazzoni, we don't sell it. I love the look of Bertazzoni. But really, if you're going to buy one of these, and I put Ilve, I would put Avanti, Smeg, all these Italian-inspired ranges. They're all made in kind of one village anyway. You really have to see the fit and finish, because they're almost like beautiful, semi-functional ranges. You're not getting. We had an article written, pro versus pro style, but what I didn't cover was, if you're going to buy one of these, you got to go to an appliance showroom and really fit the fit and finish on those. And typically, Bertazzoni, although it's not a big deal, you're not getting clocks, timers, that sort of thing. But on that La Cornue Chateau Supreme that I showed you in the first one at 125,000, that didn't have a clock either. Neither those Blue Star. When you go into some of those off brands, you really have to say, A, do I like the fit and finish, and B, who's going to fix it? Right. So those are the two problems that you're gonna find.
Let's switch it up to this is a question about it's timely. How can I get manufacturer rebates for buying multiple appliances when many items are out of stock? So if you want to maybe talk about that concept of manufacturer rebates for packages, and then how people can navigate that right now.
Boy, I wish I prepared for this question. the theme of the reason why I put this webinar on is to say that the supply chain is in such dire straits right now, and companies are in such dire straits right now. The more you can avoid back orders, because ETAs are flowing, they may say to us, and we'll say to you, it's due in next week, and it just doesn't show up. So the more you can avoid that, the better off you are. But I do believe that whoever salesman you talk to has to help you navigate that. Whereas if the rebate has got an expiration date, typically the way they do it is you need the serial number off it. You got to send the serial number in there. You should be able to navigate with companies very reasonably now, as far as once you get all that stuff to be able to send that and get the rebates. And a lot of rebates don't really expire anyway. Like the Thermador 1-2 free, and that's been going on for 12 years. I mean, I don't think that that's going to be a problem. But the first thing you can do is, again, I mean, I showed you LG, Beko, Profile Cafe, Fisher Paykel, and it is to buy similar stuff in your area that you have the availability. You don't have to project manage your delivery. You don't have to project manage your rebates or anything like that. Really, a lot of these things, and I would say Bosch, Samsung, Genair, KitchenAid, if you can find them in your area. I mean, I like what we sell a little bit better from the service standpoint, but from a product standpoint, a convection range to me is kind of a convection range. So really look at what's available, get that delivered, and then mail in the rebates, not worry about it, is what I would say. But I still think that you shouldn't have a problem getting a rebate when a product's back ordered in this day and age.
Next up, let's take a question. What is happening with Miele wall and speed ovens? They're moving from Gen 6 to Gen 7. What's the transition like?
I don't know. Well, we had I'll give you, here's the stat for you. We have 2,700 Miele dishwashers on order right now. You know how many we have in stock? 0. We don't have any in stock, 0 in stock. Well, I don't think I think we have orders going back to 2020 on Miele dishwashers. So to be honest, we haven't really pushed out Gen 7 for dishwashers. Well, when we had them, we did, or anything else, because quite honestly, they're so underwater on the stuff they have now. So the transition is not good.
Next up here, let's go. Thoughts on electronics in wall ovens malfunctioning due to extended heat and use. What are your thoughts there?
I just look at the stats. Things went electronic 30 years ago. Now, what went electronic first? Microwaves, right? Microwaves emit high heat and a cloud of when you open a microwave, it's a blast of heat. And you would think that it would burn a control panel out. But microwaves, since we've been doing reliability studies, microwaves are amongst the most reliable products we sell. And I would say that hasn't been a problem with electronics. Can an electronic panel not work? Certainly. But that's not a huge, I don't think high heat and electronic panels, again, some of the other more reliable products, electric ranges, gas ranges, all have electronics, high heat, right off the burner, the back burner, although it's not the hottest burner, is situated right under a control panel in some of these freestanding ranges. And they're still some of the most reliable products we sell. So I don't see that as an issue, even in wall ovens as well.
Switching up to refrigerators. There's a question about Fisher and Paykel refrigerators. It's just the questions, do you like Fisher and Paykel refrigerators? You want to just touch on our thoughts there?
I do. I like them because they're unique, and unique is good. I think, especially when you're planning a kitchen, you want something unique. They also make unique sizes, right? They're one of the only ones that make a 33-inch counter depth refrigerator, and they're the only ones that make an available counter depth refrigerator, 33-inch counter depth. They also have, if you want a panel refrigerator right now, now I know KitchenAid's got the panel one, but it's counter depth, so it looks like It looks like you stuck a panel on it, which is not what you want. Well, you can always build it back if you had to. The least expensive one is for Chapekel with an integrated, so it's nice and smooth to the cabinet face by about $5,000. So they've got a lot of really interesting products in refrigeration. The Active Smart, we're going to test that now with our next project, Produce 2, because they don't have 2 evaporators, but they do have more sensors and a microprocessor to manage temperature in the freezer and refrigerator. So it should be pretty interesting to see how they do. But I like the refrigerator.
Let's switch it up to ventilation. It's always a popular topic. You talked about capture area in the past. Is there a hood or brand that you can recommend over a 24-inch induction cooktop? What goes into that?
Well, is it 24 inches deep, or is it? Well, let's just say you cook. Now, there's a new movement out called the Ban the Gas Range movement. And the reason why they're banning the gas ranges is because when you cook and burn fat, bacon grease, what have you, you have a nice cocktail of nitrous oxide, I think it's nitrogen oxide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, formaldehyde. That's one I was familiar. What's called PIM, particulate matter, that bounces off these, especially gas, because it's an open flame. So what happens is when they don't vent properly. So what happens is the most vulnerable population, like kids, in poorly ventilated spaces, there's a 42% increase in asthma. So rather than venting properly, what people do is we want to ban the gas range and go to electric. Now I'm going to answer the question on induction in a second. The problem with that is, especially in California, where they have such a shaky grid now, is now you're adding 28 to 30 amps per household times the million household on top of a grid that is unstable to begin with. The better thing is to vent it. Now, the reason why electric isn't under the same scrutiny is because only half the matter, or less than half the matter, bounces off an induction range as far as gas. So all those gases, everything, much less in induction, but it still happens, right? So what you want to do, if you're telling me I want to cook and I want to vent, you get a 24-inch deep hood that'll cover the front burners, and you get a CFM of 600 to 1,000 CFM, and you vent it out your house. You vent it out either straight, short, or vent it straight back. And that is how all this stuff gets out of your house, where you don't have a problem with grease and all those chemicals that we know about or we don't know about out of your home.
Thanks, Steve. Let's back to a question from the audience here. Bosch wasn't listed as an option on the slides. Is that because of availability? You want to talk about Bosch?
Yeah, they have you know something. They're a great company. I love Bosch products because they're reliable, they're reasonable, and they're nice looking. Right? That's really all you really want in anything, is something different looking, something reliable, something nice looking. They're also really good at handling problems. So it's not including them is kind of it's different for me, because you're not going to be able to get a package. You're going to get the fridge, probably not their stove, and probably not their dishwasher in a package. I love their fridge. It's 2-compressor, like a Sub-Zero. It's got a metal back, so you put your milk next to it, gets colder quicker because metal absorbs cold better than plastic. But the problem is you're not going to be able to get the package. When their stoves come back, maybe you get another a dishwasher to put in there, like a beko with a, we talk about pocket handles, right? The pocket handles is that square thing, and that's the way we should probably be selling just all dishwashers, because when you put a towel bar rack on, everyone's got a different towel bar rack. That's why I tried to match the LG and the G and then kind of build a package thing. But yeah, when Bosch comes back, I mean, it's one of my favorite brands. And they, when there's a problem, they're good at fixing. They're good at parts too. It's just such a great company. Their whole BSH Corp, Bosch, Gaggenau, Thermador, all their brands. They're just a wonderful company. That's just, they're having some hard times now.
Let's go back to ventilation, and please use the Q&A if there are any other questions that are on your mind today. Back to ventilation. What's the best kitchen exhaust hood that does not need to be vented outside and just uses good filters? Steve.
Again, I think anything with a baffle filter lets air go, but where's air going back? It's going back in your house. I would, I just did a post, vents you shouldn't buy. And it's a video, and I should have included ventless, because really all those gases we talk about are just going to stay in your house. And yeah, you're going to eliminate some of the grease and some of the odor, but really you should vent. I think anything with a baffle filter is fine, because it lets more air through, but into what? Right back in your house. So I'm not a big fan of ventless. It's certainly better than, everyone always says it's better than nothing. I guess, yeah, but still, you're not, they're saying our indoor environment is worse than our outdoor environment for air quality. I mean, by a lot. So, and one of the reasons is the new building, everyone's building such tighter tolerances, not getting any airflow back in your house. So really what you got in your house stays in your house, like cigarette smoke and cooking odors is now you really have to get rid of it, especially in newer places.
A couple product category questions that we can finish up with if no other questions come in here. Someone was saying looking for a 5-burner slide-in 36-inch range with downdraft in gas. What are some options there?
Well, I'll tell you that it doesn't exist as a whole product, and I'll tell you how to do it. And I'm going to put a big asterisk by saying first, don't do it. Right. But Best has that Katura system that says that you can install it behind any range. Go to Best by Brone, and the specs should be right there. Give it to your contractor. Again, downdrafts, zero capture area. Remember, they put in the back where the hottest burners in the front, right? Zero capture. The other thing is you're venting longer distances with at least one elbow. So just understand that, yes, it's better than nothing, but not by a lot. So there's no product built in with all that stuff. But if you want to do it, Best Katura is the only one that advertises it can be done. I doubt that, except maybe in a over a 24-inch standard cabinet, and I still wouldn't do it. I would put that. I put your sink in the island, and I would put your cooking against a wall and vent it out.
And then, yep, sorry. And then dual fuel ranges. What are some options in the affordable luxury segment for dual fuel ranges?
Dual fuel, electric oven, gas top. This is another one in the book of no. And I'll tell you why, except maybe and I'll tell you why. Because what you're saying is you want the best of both worlds. You want gas cooking, and you want electric convection oven. First of all, here's a couple things. First of all, the fastest is induction, right? It's faster, better simmer, easier to clean, easier to vent, right? Electric ovens. I assume that you're a baker, because if you're my mom and love to broil everything, you'd be better off with a gas oven. So the first thing is do you need a dual fuel? Second thing is, do you want an all gas? Third thing is maybe consider induction or all gas. But that said, a lot of people are hung up on gas cooking for whatever reason. Almost anything that I showed you, well, Cafe is dual fuel. Bosch will have dual fuel. I think it's available because dual fuel isn't as popular. Most everything that you see in affordable luxury that I showed you, except for LG, can be dual fuel as well, right? In the affordable luxury, look at Cafe, look at Profile, look at Bosch, KitchenAid. It's got dual fuel, Genair, dual fuel in their regular, not pro line. So you can get dual fuel, but the real question is, do you really want dual fuel? I don't think you should buy it. In fact, that's in my book of no, but it's up to you.
Next one is, let's go to, what would you recommend for a wall and speed oven? This person is asking, what would you recommend for a wall and speed oven? Bosch, Miele, Thermador, Cafe, Signature, Wolf. May not be anything else, but what are your thoughts going into that segment?
All right, first things first. What is the worst available item that you can buy now? Speed ovens. For whatever reason, maybe it's one guy or one woman making these in some unknown place, but with the speed oven, you're getting horrible delays and almost no information as to when you can expect it, right? So that's the first thing. So the first thing is what's available. Now, the second thing is what's the easiest to use. And again, MasterChef makes it really simple to use. I would say Wolf Gourmet, with their, but not so much on their speed oven. On their ovens, they even tell you the rack position, right? Miele in their wall ovens have steam functionality too. We get 3 bursts, make big bread, and hit a button that says California sourdough. Hit that button, make a California sourdough. And then some of the other ones, Bosch with their, they got a nice one with the fold down, and all the other ones pretty much do similar things. So it really depends on which wall when you're looking at. But be very, very careful. I mean, we've been pounding away to get like thermal or steam ovens for over a year now. So,
question about do combined microwave and convection ovens work well? Will the convection oven actually be reliable, usable as a second oven? You want to talk about that combination type product?
yes, and you'll like it too, because you don't get the preheat time on us. Here's a good thing. A, it works. B, you get less preheat time because you're not heating this whole cavity, right? But flip on that is you're not heating a whole cavity, right? So you're not going to stuff a turkey in a 1.5 cubic foot. But yes, they do work. The way a cycle really works is 90% convection, 10% microwave to save you half the time without that. See, what microwaves do is they target moisture. That's why everything comes out so limp, right? But a microwave convection setting is certainly worth considering. And the convection does work, and you'll like it for smaller stuff, and you'll like it because you don't have to wait around for it as much.
Let's go back to a question from that just came in here. Are extended warranties worth it? And are they more important to consider in one appliance than another?
Yes,
That's a good question.
great question. And we give you all that information, right? Like that dishwasher, there's 1.72%. Don't buy a warranty on it because you don't need to. And there's certain products that you really don't need to. I would say electric ranges, certainly you don't need them. Certain basic gas ranges, you don't need them. Washers are different because they're reliable, but here's a tip, right? For everybody, you want to know what the biggest problem of a washer is, and I'm going off kilter, right? Is when you put too much detergent in. That detergent stays in the machine, and it just over time just like seizes that machine up. So from now on, just use a cap. We'll put a cap, put it in there, and you'll thank me in 5 years, right? But washers are very reliable, but once there's a problem with a direct drive machine, you know what we do when there's a problem with the direct drive? Do you know what we do with that, Pat? We just exchange them because it's like 7 hours of labor to fix a direct drive washer. So that may be something you're on the fence on where it's reliable, but there's a problem. Refrigerators, yes. Yes, although they're getting better. The ice makers actually work now. Refrigerators, pro ranges, anything that's like bigger like that, any highly technical products I would. But here's the problem. You buy an extended warranty, who's going to fix it? Because a lot of these third parties are like call centers. What happens is like most of the time you buy a warranty from a dealer, and if they don't have a service, that should be a huge red flag because they've just sold your information. They don't own the warranty. The third party does. And the third party ascertains what they think good service is, right? What good service to them is, how do I commoditize it? So when you're buying a warranty for $199, dealer buys it for like $40, $30. So they made a bunch of money on it. So it's like bad insurance. So really the only time you buy an extended warranty is on those products, or you can buy them even on anything you want. But the ones you should focus on are pro, technical, refrigeration, definitely. And only buy a warranty from a service agent, whether it's a dealer or a service agency. Don't buy it from a dealer without service, because really what you're buying is just a piece of paper, and which allows that call center to tell you, yeah, it's a month and a half to get that critical appliance fixed. It's just such a bad deal. You know, you think like it's Geico, where you take a picture of it and they send someone out there. It's appliance extended warranties should be regulated federally, quite honestly. And I'm a Republican, a somewhat of a Republican. I'm sorry, a liberal Republican, you know.
That was a good question, Nancy. It is important just to do it. That's why I want to emphasize, like Steve mentioned, it's not, there are products that it's more important to buy or more reasonable to buy an extended warranty for, but it's probably equally, if not more important, to know who's going to take care of it in that case. If you do buy that, it's because it's not like buying, it's not like going back to the car dealership.
So I like State Farm,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
really, really focus on the what and then the who. The who is really important. And if you can't get the who, then take your chances. Really.
Yep.
Because at least you'll pay, but at least you won't get fleeced in the beginning and fleeced at the end. So
yep. There are dealers, appliance dealers like Yale, who have a service department, but it's not as common as you would expect. So it's important to ask.
and we list, if you live in Massachusetts, we list them in some of the articles who they are. So they give you an idea of who fixes things.
One more, let's circle back to that induction cooktop question about the 24-inch wide unit. Peter's having trouble finding hoods with the depth to make sure that the burners are covered. So are there recommendations on how to make sure you get that depth for the capture area that's necessary?
24 inches deep. That's where those burners are. So buy 24. Again, you know, with induction, you know, I'm not as, induction requires less ventilation because there's less heat emission. You know, when you turn on a burner, I think it's 60% of that goes to air through the sides, right? And that needs to be vented as much as anything, you know, with everything that gas does. With induction, it's not as critical, and it really depends. Like, can't find something. Induction's not like gas because the burners are more interdispersed. You always cook on a back burner if you're really having problems finding one, right? Because in the gas, all the ones are in the front, and induction doesn't matter as much.
Yep. We have one more question about appliance availability. Someone is saying, I'm hoping to redo my kitchen starting next January. Interested in a dual fuel range. How far in advance should I order? And I think, Steve, you typically maybe answer this in the way of what stage of your process should you be ordering your appliances now in the current climate?
Well, right now it's bad. Right now we're in the middle of bad because we have high demand, faltering supply. I think as demand ebbs, and we're starting to see a little bit of that when people start spending more on recreational stuff and less on their home, I think that'll help it a little bit. But companies, the real premier companies are having problems and will continue to do so. Now, in the old days, didn't matter. You know, if you forgot to buy your your appliances and you called us up a week before you need them, wasn't a big deal because we stocked it. It was local. Now, what I would do, especially now, and this could change, right, is buy it at the time of planning. If you know you need it, buy it. Some of the brands, Meal included, are 8 to 12 months out. And the other thing is Google whatever appliance store is near you, and it's got good Google ratings, somewhere over 4.6 to 5. No one's ever be 5. Anything over 4.6. See the salesperson that seems to be coming up in these reviews as someone who's good, and talk to them. Tell them, hey, this is what you're looking at. What's the ETA? And just have a relationship with someone like you normally would. You don't typically have that with appliance people. I mean, we're not exactly those type of people you want to have relationships with. But that's what I would do. But right now, if you need it next January, now's the time to think about it, especially in some of the real call brands. Sub-Zero Wolf, Miele, Thermador, absolutely. Now, that said, right, let's just say it's a year from when you need it. There's some, and again, I put some of these in our webinar. There's a lot of good brands that are going to challenge these guys with really good features. I mean, if you're looking for a 30-inch stove, I'd buy any of the 30-inch stoves for myself that I saw there, because the differences, even between 2 and 6, I mean, okay, you're getting 4 professional burners instead of 2. Do you need 4, right? The other ones had convection. I mean, I didn't get into LG's. They have that Pro-Bay convection. So they're the only ones that actually blow it from the rear. So they keep a more even temperature that way at $2,000. So the other thing is, if you're not getting the right response to the brand you want, look at some of the other brands. See, for me, it's not that important. For me, all I'm looking for to sell is reliable brands. For you, it should be the same thing, right? So let's just say you can't get a Wolf, right? Would you get an SKS? Would you get a Fisher Paykel? Would you get that Cafe with 6 burners? That middle unit is $19,000. It's got 2 9,500 BTUs that you can turn on both or one. It's pretty powerful stuff. And you 2 ovens. So yeah, if you want what you want and it's far out, now's the time. You know you need it, right? And the other thing is really consider the other stuff, because there's the difference between what's considered great and very good now isn't as much as you think.
Okay, thanks, Steve. I think that will do it for us today. Be on the lookout for the recording of this in your email. We will be sending that out tomorrow likely, and posting this to YouTube. YouTube's where you can find all previous recordings of our webinars. If you have a project going on, there's lots of answers in there for you. This afternoon, Thursdays at 4 p.m. we do Appliance Advisors with a couple of our sales folks. They take popular questions, common questions that we hear all the time, and dive into timely topics as well. And there's live Q&A available there as well. And with that, I think that will do it for today. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Pat.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Till next time.